Good afternoon, traders, and welcome to this week's weekly market analysis class, Monday the 5th of March. Before we get started, as always, please understand that any advice in today's session is of a general nature only and that your personal circumstances have not been taken into consideration. Okay, let me bring forward what's on our agenda this week. Let's have a bit of a chat about the market, see what's happening, what's going to move them, and what to look out for. We'll kick off with the US dollar. Essentially, the US dollar is currently under quite a lot of pressure. It didn't help that Mr. Trump's decision to impose tariffs on steel and aluminium last Friday have not been taken well. I believe Canada called it unacceptable, but the EU and China went further. In fact, they threatened to take protective action. The last time that this happened was under George Bush, and the tariffs were lifted. Finally, when the EU imposed tariffs of their own on oranges and vehicles. Let's see what happens this time round. The highlights are, of course, apart from the geopolitical situation with the US, we also have non-farm payrolls this week, which happens at the end of the week. It's listed there as Saturday morning, but it's late Friday night, just after midnight. Non-farm payrolls, unemployment numbers, which are big in terms of market moving events. For anybody newer to these classes or people that aren't very familiar with the Forex markets, non-farm payroll are probably the Super Bowl of announcements in terms of how much they generally tend to attract interest and move the market. So keep an eye out on that. It's down here on late Friday night, shall we call it, in my local time. Locally in Australia, we have the Reserve Bank meeting tomorrow, and there's no real reason that we believe that the RBA will be changing its neutral stance on its monetary policies at this point in time. There's going to be probably greater Aussie dollar movement or Aussie dollar volatility coming from GDP numbers and trade balance. So tomorrow, 2:30, that's traditionally the first Tuesday of the month. We have the RBA making its rate decision and giving their monetary policy statements on that. But possibly the trade balance and the GDP numbers will have a greater impact, considering that everybody's expecting not much change, and also considering that the RBA has been particularly neutral in recent times on its monetary policies. So there you have it. The euro, I forgot to mention it straight from the top. This week is actually a huge week in terms of data, because we have 4 central banks making monetary policy statements and rate decisions, and on top of that we also have the US non-farm payrolls. Now, the second bank to make interest rate decision and monetary policy statement is the ECB, and I guess what we're really looking for is to see if there will be any rate changes to their policies, and particularly will be interesting to see if they take any action from their previous meetings' hawkish tones. So that's what we're looking for. There has been some talk already that there may be a delay until after the summer, particularly also with the elections, the Italian elections that happened over the weekend, and the German elections as well. So let's see what they say this week. We don't really anticipate any movements this time around, but to see if they stay on that hawkish message that they delivered last time, that action will be required, and that they will be looking at tapering their monetary policies in the coming months. So that's for the euro. The GBP, the sterling this week, very quiet week actually. With really the only highlight is the manufacturing production numbers, which happens on Friday evening, our time. The third bank to make a policy rate decision is the Bank of Japan. We can see there on Friday, it's tentative. They never basically tell you what time they're going to do it. The Bank of Japan is notorious for surprising the market with things unexpected. So this was always one to pencil in on your calendar. So that happens on Friday. Then finally, the CAD, Bank of Canada, is making its monetary statement on Thursday, well, wee hours of Thursday, or we could call it late Wednesday night. The trade balance is coming out that evening as well with the rate statement, and also we have unemployment and employment numbers on early Saturday morning, late Friday night. So it's a big week for the Canadian dollar. Recently it's been taken to the cleaners, so to speak. So will this week be the week that the CAD turns around? Okay, I believe due to the nature of the data that's coming out this week, the pair that's going to be the most susceptible to data itself will be the US CAD, okay, and particularly that time slot when non-farm payroll and the employment numbers from the US and the employment numbers from Canada come out simultaneously. It's extremely volatile, so please be aware of that. And as always, guys, the times that I'm showing you are in my local time, which is Australian Eastern Standard Daylight Savings Time. Okay, if anybody has any questions, please type them in. I'm more than happy to address them for you as I see them. I will bring my charts forward and we shall begin our analysis of the markets for this week. All right, let's kick off with the Aussie dollar. Okay, Aussie dollar. Okay, so last week I wanted to get out, I wanted to break below here before I can start to look for shorting. Am I in a change of direction trend? It kind of appears that perhaps now we've gone up, we've broken that low, so it makes real good sense to me if we should see a really nice price action reversal pattern occurring somewhere there where my circle is drawn, then I'll be happy to trade it down and continue with the momentum downwards on the Aussie dollar. Other than that, there's really nothing else that I can see. For those of you who are new, and I can see some new faces, make sure you watch the price action videos. Price action is predominantly what I like to look at when I do my Monday analysis. And look, as I said, it feels like, well, I guess from a technical point of view, forget about what it feels like. From a technical point of view, we've got the conditions that we've got a high, a lower high, we've got a low and a lower high, which basically if you join the dots, we could say we're in downtrend. So what we're looking for now is a reversal, short reversal, and somewhere in here we are looking for really nice price action candles to give us the opportunity to take the trade in the downward direction. So if I was to draw it out for you, just in case no one knows what I'm looking for, it would be nice if I had a pattern that looked like this, say a green candle there, followed by an inside candle, preferably the color change would be nice, and then basically at the break of the bottom there on the next candle, that's my trigger to go down. So when I draw the circle, I'm looking for something like that to be inside that circle to see if it gives us the entry of what we're looking for. So that would be an inside candle. I would take an engulfing candle or a body engulfing or a three candle pattern like a shooting star as well. But the inside candle is the easiest one to spot, so that's the one that I've just mentioned. Okay, so that's what we're looking for, Aussie dollar. We're just waiting for a little bit of a pullback, and let's see if we can get an opportunity to become sellers in this particular market. Okay, at the moment I have no reason to buy. There's no support level, there's nothing. I mean, the next logical support for this particular market is down here, and as you can see, I'm very far away from it, so there's no point. I'm not interested in buying at all. All right, let's move it along. Let's have a look at the Euro USD. Okay, I saw this candle formation on Wednesday, the inside candle there, and I was torn between whether this is continuation of the trend or it's not. So when I'm indecisive like this, I tend to, well, what we should all do is when we're indecisive, when we see a setup and we don't exactly know what to do, the first thing is, if you've never encountered that particular situation, you should look at your trading plan and for reference. Okay, if your trading plan doesn't say anything about that situation, well, make sure that you go ahead and document something about that situation. For me, it's pretty simple. Okay, so when I'm trading in the trend, I want to see, just like I showed just then, I want to see progressive, my lows getting higher. Okay, so that it looks like I'm in some kind of a staircase. All right, so when I'm in doubt, I mark out my highs. Let's call that a high. Let's call that a high. There's a low, and this low is actually lower than that one over there. So in theory, if that was over here and perhaps it was there somewhere, even though that's kind of like a double top, I would be more justified to look for a trade in that direction. But this low here is definitely lower than this one over here, so it's a no-no. Okay, even though it doesn't matter what happens afterwards, if it played out to be a great trade or whatever, the fact is it did not meet our criteria. It was never a trade in the first place. All right, so just wanted to highlight that one. I did get an email. One particular person asked me about that question, about that situation. So there you have it. I have answered it. So what do we do now? Let me just zoom out further. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to mark out this region. Just going to mark it. These are a couple of scenarios. One scenario is if we get up to that level again, I'm interested in looking for this trade. I'm also interested in looking for the break-in trade. For the breakout trader, both are viable options, okay, if we get back up to that level. Now, if we don't get up to that level, and I start to analyze that low, and say I get a high over there somewhere, well, are we in the start of something short? Well, we're still in congestion. We're still in a little bit of a mess in here, so possibly not. I would like to get through this level, okay, and then on the next one, then I'd be interested in what I would classify a trend reversal, and then trying to trade inside of the trend. All right, does that make sense to everybody? So to me, I'm still in noise. So the best trade that I can kind of look for is, let me just, I just saw something else, is basically trying to trade that one back down. Let me just have a look at something else that I just saw. Give me 1 second. The other option, but it won't be, okay, the other option is look for it as a parallelogram there, like a falling channel. However, it's not a channel until you have 2 confirmed touches on each side. So this would only be the second touch, so it would be extremely aggressive to attempt to trade it off there. So let's say if that went up to that level, then came back down, the first proper trade, if you go through the videos, is technically this one down here in this direction. Okay, so if this rises up and doesn't get to that top level and falls back down, then look for this channel trade over here. I don't think that'll all happen in 1 week, but we never know. I think the more viable option will be if it reaches that top and then making like a triple top, and let's see if we can get a trade out of that. Okay, so that's my Euro USD. There's nothing on the cards right now. Let's move along. Let's have a look at the US Yen. Okay, this is in trend for sure. I would say you could have possibly from here, once we broke that low and we're breaking lows and we're breaking lows, we're breaking lows. We are looking for it. Do we have anybody that trades T-Chaser in the room? I'm just going to change the profile of my chart for 1 second. I'm just going to put the T-Chaser profile on. I think there's a trade here, right there, all the way down from a T-Chaser. Just let me have a quick look. I'll just confirm it. Okay, and let me zoom in. Let me just grab a vertical line. Okay, this candle, this red one up here, this candle here is a signal. Okay, if I drop down my vertical, I know it's a little bit, it's right over there. So my CCI is on. My 3 moving averages are on as well there, and also that candle closes underneath the 72. So all the criteria have been met. Now the beauty of catching one early is if you catch it from there, right now you'd be up about 590 pips on this particular trade. Okay, there's been other entries into it, later entries, like I can see something happened over there, something happened over here, something happened over there as well, and there's another entry right there. Usually the way that I trade it is, once I like to get the first entry. If I'm not on it, I will wait till I get a brand new entry. So if I was to go back and look at this, I would have seen that originally I was in the trade over here from, if I traded it correctly, I would be in from there. Original stop was there, moved to 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 there, and if this pulls up a little bit, there'll be another opportunity to move it there, or alternatively it could go up there and you get stopped out. Okay, so it's a quick turbo refresher on the T-Chaser. Just wanted to point that out because I know a lot of you guys trade it, so just want to see which market analysis. Okay, put my template back on. Okay, so I got really nothing on this. The floor's opened up, like this has really opened up to continue to run down, but I don't have a reason to take a trade right now. So if I was going to trade price action here, the only thing that I can look for is for it to reverse up, look for a price action candle pattern there, and then continue with the trend downwards. Okay, it's the only thing that I have. It's the only thing available on the US yen. So there you have it. Okay, let's move it along. Let's have a look at the US CAD. Okay, this was today's daily call chart of the day. Pretty self-explanatory. Clearly, everybody can see here there's a level where the market has rejected 3 times in the past. We are there right now, and we want to find out, will it reject or will it finally break through? Okay, so as most of you who have been with me for a while, I don't trade off the levels. Okay, because if I was to trade off the levels, so right now, and I entered short, okay, and then it just continues to go up, well then obviously this line has not been respected at all, and then I'll go back and I look at my trade and I said, well, what was the reason that I took that trade? So what I need, Friday's trade set it up really nicely. What I would ideally like today is a candle that looks like, now it's already gone this high, so ideally I would want a candle that looks like this, stays inside of Friday's candle, and then tomorrow, should we break the low, then I would hit that trade in this direction. Okay, so this one is we only got to wait one night to find out if it's a trigger or not a trigger. There's no other options on this one. This is like there, it's ready to be picked. Either we'll probably get a setup, or it's going to break up If it breaks beyond the high of Friday's candle, it's off the table completely, and we just go look for another trade. Okay, so there you have it. US CAD, pretty straightforward. Let's see what if it plays out for us or if it does not. GBP USD. I drew this. It's not the most beautiful looking channel, but it is a channel with two touches on either side. We spotted it, I think, about a week or so ago. We have finally come to the party, but we don't have a price action reversal pattern. So, oh, that's a shame. Nothing there. Okay, there's nothing there. I'm not going to force it. I'll keep looking in this area just in case these candles come back down and gives me the pattern that I like, or not that I like, that meets my criteria. And if it does happen, then I can take the long in that position. At the moment, it doesn't look like it's going to set up. Those candles, it's not going to happen. Probably 90% it won't, but let's just wait and see. If it does, I will point it out to everybody so that we can all see if we can take advantage of it. Okay, so GBP USD pretty short this week, and it's got to be a quiet week as well for the GBP. Although the US part of the pair was quite volatile this week, so we could get some movement here as well. Okay, let's have a look at the Kiwi dollar. What do we got? I'm on a 4-hour chart here. Why? Okay. Last week on a daily chart, we saw this, and I said, I actually don't know if I said or not, but someone remind me, because if I see this, it just feels that it's normal that I would see this. There's an engulfing candle there. It's not really a double bottom. Remember, we talked about it because all the action is coming from here. It can't really be a double bottom. For it to be a double bottom, it's got to be all the way from up there, come down, hit a bottom, come down. Then we can say it's a double bottom. Okay. So, but it is nevertheless a point. So if anybody was interested in that on a 4-hour chart, there was an opportunity. I didn't trade it, but I'm just pointing it out just in case sometimes people want to trade it. It's almost an inside candle, but there you have it. Okay, so when I'm looking right now, daily chart, I can't help but think that this level's not going to hold. I do feel it's going to fall, but I can't just trade on what I think. So what I've got to do is let's see if it can push a little bit out, give me the price action there, and then I would be happy to attempt it downwards. This kind of trade would be, it's not really a in-trend trade because you could argue that and not argue, you can see that I'm in congestion. It's more like an early anticipation of a break, okay? But it's the kind of trade I actually want to be short, and I'm trying to find the reason to get in. Okay, so the only reason that I can find is if we pull back a little bit, if I get a reversal pattern right there, and then if I can try and take it to break through that level and continue in a downward direction. Okay, it's a little bit more complex, more advanced type trade, not your standard trend or normal trades that I take, but it's one that I kind of want to get in, and I'm looking for a reason to be in this trade. Okay, so but at the moment I don't have it, so I've got to wait and see if I can get the price action that I'm looking for to enter this particular one. Okay, all right, let's have a look at oil. Okay, we have a narrowing range. You can see starting to narrow. So narrowing range is good for breakout traders. Let me just drop into a 4-hour chart. Let me see what it looks like. Let me start to draw some lines across here. Naturally, I want to start to measure these. if this moves towards here, at this point here is my first legitimate trade. I can trade inside the conversion triangle. Just make sure that we have enough room to get to at least 1-to-1. If you don't have the room, well then there's no point taking the trade. The good thing about this type of trade is if you have enough room for your 1-to-1 and then you hang tight, typically what can also happen is you can stay in the trade for the break as well. So you could get your 1-to-1 over there somewhere. If it does break, well then you can hang tight and even attempt to get 3-to-1 on your trade. Typically the way that you trade a conversion triangle, so let's say if this goes like that, roughly here at the aperture of the triangle, this distance, when it breaks, generally that's the distance that you can expect for a target. So if imagine I get an entry up here somewhere, and at this point it's a 1-to-1, essentially this feels like a free trade. Okay, I've already made something, all the risk is off the table, and then I can hang tight and try and break through. All right, that's why I like when I get this trade inside the consolidation and I've got a good reason to take it, which I do here because it's a conversion triangle. If I stay on it, if I can get to my 1-to-1 inside the triangle and then hang tight for the break, it can be a very rewarding trade. All right, so there you have it, WTI. I've zoomed into a 4-hour chart to show you what I'm showing you right now. Okay, let's have a look at gold. Okay, let me zoom out a bit more. Not much happening on this chart. It's a little bit messy in here, and there's no clear direction either way. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to leave this one alone. We won't touch it. We'll leave this one. Okay, let's move ASX 200. Oh, it's pulling back. Okay, this chart is still too messy to attempt anything on this one, so I will leave this one alone as well. Okay, let me go back and recap. I'll invite everybody to type in your questions right now and see if I can help you. If you want me to look at something specifically, please let me know and I shall do so. Okay, Aussie US dollar. We need to wait for a pullback, price action, and then hit the trade downwards. It's all that's on the table. Euro USD. I'd like to get through this bottom level before I trade trend on it. So the other option is to perhaps get a trade up there somewhere. Okay. US Yen. We're definitely in trend. Let's look for a pullback and let's see if we can get the entry and take a trend trade. US CAD, straightforward. Let's wait for today's candle. If it finishes as an inside candle, well then we've got to trade short for tomorrow. GBP USD. Let's see if we can get an entry at this support line. If we do, we can attempt to trade upwards. Kiwi Dollar. We're in the congestion, so we need to wait for some kind of pull away into this region over here somewhere, and then possibly to trade it back down. WTI, on a 4-hour chart, we have a converging triangle. Let's see if we can get a trigger on the perimeter, and if we have enough room, possibly to stay on the trade for a breakout trade as well. Gold, we said not much happening. ASX not looking good at all. Okay, any questions, guys? Does anybody want me to have a look at anything in particular? I normally allocate time for you every week, so this is your opportunity to type in your questions that you've gathered throughout the week. Take advantage. I am generally quite busy. This is the moment that you have my undivided attention. Okay, someone's asking me a question about the Kiwi Yen, the trade that I took on the daily call. Okay, give me 1 second. Let me just find the Kiwi Yen trade and let's have a look. Kiwi Yen, Kiwi Yen, Kiwi Yen. Here we go. There's my Kiwi Yen. And let me just find the chart that it corresponds to on the daily call. 1 moment. Okay, I've got it. How do I move it to my other screen? Okay, I'll use this one. I can't move it to this screen. Give me 1 second. I'll do something else. I'm just going to pick up what happened. It was on the 28th. So the trading question is this one here. Okay, the Kiwi Yen. Okay, that's the trading question. It happened on the 28th. So just let me go back the 28th. So it would be this video here, and I'm just going to mute it. I just want to get to, okay, there we go. So let me just pause it. And let me just go full screen. Okay, can everybody see that? Can I just get confirmation? Can you guys see this before I answer the question? Yep. Okay, cool. All right, 1 second. Okay, so this was the daily call on the 28th. I don't even know what day that is. Is that Thursday or Wednesday or something? I don't know. Just last week sometime. And I was looking for a trade setup, okay, and I came across this T-Chaser, Kiwi Yen, and you can see it's a T-Chaser, and if you actually go back and watch this video after this class today, I explain it like in turbo mode because I'm trying to make a short 2-minute video. But basically the rules of the T-Chaser are that these 3 moving averages, and go back and watch the video so that you can see what the numbers are. But basically these 3 lines there were in order, so it met the criteria. Also, my CCI was down there, so it met the criteria. And that particular candle was also a candle that closed underneath my 72 moving average. So the 3 criteria were met. Now, I saw, obviously, the trade late because you can see that if I was to trade this correctly, the correct entry would have been there in this direction as such. Okay, and you can see that candle's already finished, and on top of that there's another candle over here, and currently when I was making the video this is where the candle was. So what I said was that I'm going to take this as a trend kind of trade, okay, and I noticed that these 2 candles were an inside candle, okay. So if I was trading it as trend, typically at the break of there would be an entry, but the price is already here, so I'm happy to just jump in at market. So what I did was I explained that I was going to place my stop just there, okay, and then that this distance would be my stop distance, and then therefore this would be my projected distance, whatever that is, like 2 to 1 or 1 to 1, etc., etc. So I you can go back and watch this video if you want to recap. Now I'm going to jump to my live chart and I'll show you what happened next. So that's what the question was about. So give me 1 second. Let me just get this off my screen. Okay, so if you want to catch this video, just go to the CSC website, go to Signal Center Daily Call, just click there, and then this will be today's video. But if you want to watch one previous back, just hit the little button up here, the playlist, and then just scroll through to the one that you want, and the one that you'll see, it's the 28th of Feb. Okay, if you want to go back, it's only about 3 minutes if you want to just recap on that. All right, let me bring my chart forward now. So this is the chart right now. This was the moment in question. Consequently, post that trade, my stop's there. Okay, we can see that my T1 gets hit somewhere over there and my T2 gets hit somewhere over here. So the trade just developed. It only took like 1, 2, 3 days, 4 days, and we've hit our targets. So it was based off a T-chaser, okay? But because for the daily call, I try to keep it, I have 2 targets, a 1-to-1 target and a 2-to-1 target. So therefore, I split it up and I based my target off a stop being placed over here. So I hope that answers your question, okay? All right, another question, give me 1 second. Euro CAD, oh, someone wants me to have a look at a Euro CAD. Let's have a look. There probably might be a few CAD trades on available. Let's have a look, Euro CAD. Someone's saying there's a sell opportunity on here. Okay, let me see why. Okay, so there's a point there, which is a long time ago, 2015. Here. It's not the greatest because see over here, it's overshot a little bit more. Okay, it's not the greatest. I don't see it as a clean level. In any case, this doesn't appear to have finished going up. So right now, even if I wanted to trade that, I would need a price action pattern for me to take that. So, and at the moment, this candle has made a higher high than yesterday's candle. So at best, what I would hope to happen is this candle rises a little bit more, maybe gives me a bit of a wick, doesn't really matter. Then the next candle gives me an inside candle. That will take me to the level that's more relevant on the left hand side, okay? And then over here, I could take it like that. So at the moment, as it sits, there's no trade, but it could still set up. Another question. Oh, there's another CAD. There is another CAD trade. There might be a couple setting. Look, another thing as well is if all of a sudden you get like 3 setups and they all contain the same currency, you could be over trading. So you need to understand how it correlates with what currency pairs correlates with each other. Okay, so because you could be doubled up on your trade. So give me 1 second. CAD, which was the other one? Was it the Aussie CAD? I can't remember which one it was. Yeah, Aussie CAD as well. So here it is. So if I zoom out of this one, there's a level here as well. All right. And if I zoom in on this one, at the moment, the current candle is still inside of Friday's. So if it finished exactly as it is, I would place my pending order here. And then if I break it on the downside, then I would have to trade. Okay. So there you have it. Any other questions? Anybody want me to have a look at anything while you have me? No? A little bit quiet today, guys? All right, well, if we have nothing else, we'll call it a day. If you do have any questions that come to mind throughout the week, just email them to us. You can just email however you got this invitation, just hit reply with your question. If it's a question related to a chart, please send me a screenshot of the chart. I need to see it, otherwise I can't answer your question. Okay? Other than that, guys, have a great week. Keep watching the daily call. I had one email which was sent to me over the weekend, and someone was saying, look, Cristian, can you have a look at my trades? I've had like a relatively low success rate, I think like 2 out of 11 trades, and this person's trading price action. And I said, have you been watching the daily call? Try and stay. Think of it as imagine you go out snorkeling on an island. Don't go snorkeling out on your own into the deep waters when you're not confident yet. Try and stay close to the boat. Okay, have a look with everybody else, and until you get good at identifying and spotting situations. Remember, price action depends on lots of people seeing the setup because we need that momentum from everybody else. So that's the best thing that I can say to you. If you're relatively new, stay close to the boat. Watch the daily call every day. You can see the trades that I'm calling out, or the charts that I'm picking out, better should I say. If you're not understanding them, feel free to ask questions. I'm more than happy to help on them. Other than that, have a great trading week. I'll talk to you tomorrow on the daily call, or I'll talk to you next week, next Monday, for the weekly market analysis class. Bye for now.